welcome back to Quick Notes with Chris on. Today we're going to be talking about the book Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. It's a really interesting book. It's actually one of my favorite books that I've ever read so far. It really talks about what are Titans, who are they, and what are the habits and basically things you can duplicate that they're doing in your life in order to basically become one of them yourself. So the book talks about understanding what a Titan is. It's a billionaire, an icon, world-class people in their craft, and these are the types of people who are in the top tier whenever it comes to success. And basically, what are the tactics that they use along with the habits that they've created in their life that you can utilize, duplicate in yourself. The first thing that it talks about is how a Titan is created through uncommon habits, which basically develops through uncommon questions. So something like as extreme as if you had a 10-year plan, right? 10 years of things that you wanted to accomplish, right? What's stopping you from being able to do it in 6? And if you can, why not? Right? Those are the types of, when I first got that, I thought that was an insane question, right? Because most people do underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years, but overestimate what they can do in a year. So in order to think about what you might be able to accomplish through 10 in 6 is absurd, and yet this is the type of uncommon questions that develop these uncommon habits. The next thing that it talks about is general, just specific mindset that it talks about. So 80% of these billionaires, of these titans, of these high-class people, they all have a level of meditation or basically personal time to think about their goals every single day. 80%. Right? So if 80% of these highly successful and skilled individuals are utilizing meditation or the law of attraction, and you're not successful, that's the first thing that you can easily implement with no questions asked. Every single person should be able to write down their goals, actively think about it throughout some portion of the day where they dedicate a certain of time. I know successful people, even from the lower sort of successes, Logan Paul. Even Logan Paul, he actually looks into the mirror every single morning and talks about the things that he wants to accomplish. So if someone as small as Logan Paul and as large as Arnold Schwarzenegger are doing these types of things where they're focusing on a level of meditation about their goals, things that they want to achieve, why aren't you? And if you're not, you need to look towards doing that at least once a day, even if it's only taking 2 minutes. If 80% of the successful people are doing it, then it's clearly something that's definitely going to help you achieve that next level of success. The next thing is basically you have to, in order to develop bigger and better habits and bigger and better success, right, you need to basically ask bigger and better questions in order to get bigger and better answers. And through this, you start to develop your habits, right? Now, it also talks about how successful people are actually just walking floors, right? They have incredible amounts of walking floors. The only difference is that they've taken obvious disadvantages, turned them into a highly competitive field, and capitalized on their strengths and minimize on their weaknesses. What does that mean? It basically means that every single successful person, they have their flaws, they have their weaknesses. If you take any type of highly successful singer, there's probably some aspect in the music career that they can't do, or better yet, they're probably not very good at math. Right, or they're not good at this. Every single successful person, there's a reason why so many people think athletes aren't intelligent. Now, that's not entirely true, but the stereotype does come from because they basically understood what the things that they were going to utilize in order to make money and capitalize on their strengths surrounding it. Knowledge is only power if it's applicable and you can get gain from it. There's no point in basically attaining stuff that's never going to benefit you. If you waste your memory thoughts or, my understanding is that you have a certain capacity of learning. No matter what, you have a certain capacity of learning, not learning specifically, but learning different skills. At some point, you're going to have to give up some form of memory, some form of basically in-depth knowledge on a certain subject in order to expand a different area. Now, it's different if it's in the same sort of broad industry, but for example, if my goal is to become an athlete, right, and I'm spending all my time learning how to play guitar, I'm going to have to sacrifice the time I'm putting into my guitar in order to learn to become an athlete, right? Which means that at some point, I may always have the skills of guitar to a certain level, but they will dwindle. They will never be actively where they were when I was actively learning guitar. So basically, it talks about how that's what successful people do. When Arnold Schwarzenegger was becoming an actor, he had to take a back seat towards bodybuilding. He still kept a solid physique, but it was nothing compared to when he was competing. When Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor of California, he wasn't able to shoot films anymore, and so on and so on and so on. So you only have limited focus, but the idea is to capitalize on your strengths at any given moment, minimize on the weaknesses that you have, right? And basically start developing a career. The reason why I keep utilizing Arnold Schwarzenegger for an example is because he actually is someone who has put their personal quotes, personal anecdotes in the book. Like another thing that he talks about, or something that you can take away, is that he had such a huge language barrier. That was his weakness, right? So rather than basically trying to outgrow that, he minimized on it to a point where you can understand what he was saying. And in fact, in his first movie, I think he has less than 81 words said in The Terminator. He has less than 81, and yet he was one of the number one stars in that movie, and yet he had 81 words spoken. So he minimized on his weaknesses and capitalized on his strengths, which was the ability to be an intimidating superhero, right, or anti-hero, right? And that's just an example of basically not letting something hold you back. Keep utilizing it to push you forward. Minimize on your strength, minimize on your weaknesses, capitalize on your strengths, build a career around that. The next thing that it talks about is that when it comes to developing these habits, the first principle is success, however you define it, no matter what it is, it's really just an accumulation of the right trials and tested habits and thinking surrounding around a certain niche, right? It basically means beliefs and, beliefs and habits. If you want to basically develop it in order to be successful, you just got to pick the right ones, right? And no matter what, you'll eventually become successful. Like if you want to be a musician, there's obviously a blueprint that you can follow through the people who have been successful before you, right? You may be able to tweak certain aspects of it, but duplication is the easiest way towards becoming successful, especially from nothing. Right? There's a large debate between innovation and duplication, but the reality of the situation is if you are just starting, the best way to go about it is duplicate something, slightly tweak it, and utilize the blueprint that other people have used before you in order to basically develop your own success. The second principle is that the superheroes that you have in mind, right, the superheroes that you think are, perfect beings, are really just walking floors who have maximized on their strengths. I said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again, right? That's the biggest idea, is that these superheroes, these highly successful, titans in these industries, and whether you're a genius and stuff like that, there's a reason why there's only so many few absolute masters in different industries. You can become very good and very well equipped in certain industries, but in order to become a master class, LeBron James is one of the best basketball players because he's just dedicated his life to that. You don't see him being really, really good at tennis. He might be great at NFL or gridiron, but he is master class at basketball, and that's because where he's chosen to dedicate his time to. The answer is that pretty much you can only focus on one thing at any given time, right? Multitasking is a myth. In fact, even computers don't multitask. They just switch between tasks so quickly, right, that we as humans think it's multitasking. Well, that's the same way with humans. We just switch between tasks constantly, right? And basically a man with split focus is never going to achieve anything. A wolf that chases two rabbits will catch none. At some point, you need to hone in on a craft that you're looking towards dedicating yourself if you want to reach that top tier level of success. Professionalism, professional money means be a professional, and a professional dedicates majority of his time towards a certain craft. The next thing that it talks about is that basically in order to develop your strengths, right, there's 3 principles or 3 tools that you can utilize. Well, what is a tool, first of all? A tool can be anything, right, from a habit, from a mindset to basically leverage, an individual. That's anything can be a tool. But the way that it basically talks about it is that there are 3 ones. I can think, I can wait, and I can fast. That's what the book talks about. I really like these concepts. So I can think. Have your own set rules and beliefs, so when it comes to decision making, it's very easy to make decisions, right? If you understand what it is that you're looking to accomplish in life, you can actively make decisions that bring you closer to the goal that you're looking towards achieving. The next thing is I can wait. All right, I can wait. Being able to plan long term, right? Understanding that delayed gratification is always going to reap a higher reward than instant gratification. Think long term versus short term. Understand where your decisions are going to lead you, and eventually, no matter what, you're going to develop a level of success. Hopefully, a result than what you want, right? Money is always going to come whenever you put the seeds in. For example, athletes. A lot of them look like they're overnight successes, when in reality, there's years and years of training, of developing the right mindset, developing the right habits, developing their skill set before they become overnight millionaires, right? That's the way that it comes. We only see the highlights, but the truth is there's far more practice than there is presentation, right? So that's what it's all about. The next one is I can fast. Being able to endure, being able to suffer the difficulties without quitting, right? Without quitting. Albert Einstein says it's not that he's the smartest man in the world, but that he sticks to problems longer than others. If you stick to the problems and never actually give up, eventually, no matter what, you will find the solution. You will overcome the obstacle, and you will basically develop that level of success. Finally, Arnie says the easiest way to become successful is find a niche, either create it or adopt one, and look towards winning, not competing. That means that when you enter a new industry, when you enter a new niche, if you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get the results of the hobby. If you treat it like a professional, you're going to get professional money. You're going to get professional results. If you want to be a millionaire, be a professional in anything. Right? If you want to make 7 figures, be a professional in anything. Nowadays, more than ever, if you are a professional, the top class, you can make 7 figures in anything. So pick your craft, pick your niche, but look towards winning, not competing. There's a difference, right? Play to win, not play to not lose. Play to basically be the best be the greatest, don't play to be average or competent, and you're going to get the results. They're going to come no matter what. You know, money is a result of hard work, right? It's just what happens. Anyways, guys, that's it for Quick Notes with Croissant. That was Tools of the Titans, but don't stop there. Keep looking at the other videos that we have on the channel and keep striving for improvement, putting yourself in a better position for success. I'll see you guys in the next video.